How do you know if you're a good friend or a bad friend? A godly friend or an ungodly friend? Do you know how to be a godly friend to others? These are such important questions if we want to glorify God in our relationships and have biblical friendships. Keep watching this video to learn more about how to be a godly friend.
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Alisa
from Captivated by Him, and we've been going through a series on biblical friendships. Today, we're going to talk about how to be a godly friend. In previous videos, we talked about how we should look to Christ as the perfect example of a godly friend. While on earth, he was loving, patient, merciful, and kind to his disciples. And if we want to be godly friends too, we should imitate Christ, specifically in his love. In John 15, Jesus commands us to love others as he loved us. And in John 15:14, it says, "You are my friends if you do what I command you."
That's so neat that we can actually be Jesus' friend. And he is the ultimate example of a godly friend. So, if we want to learn how to be a godly friend to others, we must imitate Christ and how he was a godly friend and also look at principles from the Bible. So, today we're going to dive into 3 verses from the Bible that will help us be a godly friend. But before we start, we would love to encourage you with this fact. Your ability to be a godly friend is totally dependent on your personal relationship with the Lord directly. So, in order for you to be a godly friend, you must have an excellent relationship with God first, where you are wholly committed to loving and obeying the Lord. You prioritize your relationship with God, and he is above everything else in your life. Up here, God is your number 1 priority in life. And by doing this, you can be a godly friend to others because you are seeking to glorify God in all that you do. So, what does this look like practically? Before you see your friends, you might spend time with God first by reading his word and to pray. You can pray for your friends to know and to love God more. That's one thing that you can do to care for them. You can also pray for those that are struggling, that they would turn and put their trust in the Lord, and even pray for friends that you'll be seeing later in that day. Pray that God would use you to build up those around you.
So true, Alisa. Depend on the Lord to be a godly friend and not your own strength by being diligent in your prayer life and in your personal Bible reading every single day. You have to have a consistent prayer life with the Lord first and be constantly thinking about God. This is ultimately what will help you to grow in godliness in your relationships with others as well. So now that we've laid that foundation for depending upon God in all things, including our friendships, and prioritizing our relationship with God above all other things, let's dive into our first verse that will help us learn how to be a godly friend. That verse is 1 Corinthians 15:33, which says, "Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals." So some of you might be thinking, hey, I'm not bad company, but let's switch the paradigm up a bit. Who are you allowing yourself to be influenced by? If you choose to spend time with ungodly people during the week, but think you can be a godly influence to others just on Sunday mornings at church, you might find that your witness isn't as effective as it could be. True godliness isn't confined to just one area of your life, but genuine godliness and worship should be evident in all areas of your life every single day. And we can help you apply biblical principles throughout your life by providing biblical content to you every week. So please subscribe to our channel and hit that bell notification icon to be notified of future videos, and let us help you grow in godliness. Also, if this video has been helpful and encouraging to you, then please hit the like button, and we would really appreciate it, as we already really appreciate your support and are always grateful for the opportunity to share God's truth with all of you.
That's right, Jen. We would love to pour God's word into every single area of your life, not just one little hole. And we hope we have been a godly influence to you guys as well. As Christians, we should always be striving to surround ourselves with people who will be a godly influence to us so that we won't be deceived. Instead of allowing bad company to corrupt your good morals, allow good company to build you in your knowledge of Christ and help you grow in your faith. One way you can surround yourself with good company is to reach out to more mature Christians who can teach and build you up. In my own life, actually, I have been discipled by my church pastor's wife for the past 6 years, and it has been very beneficial for me. She's been a huge blessing. She helps me see myself clearly and helps me to understand how to better help and care for other people I'm serving. She's also been a good friend to me by taking the time out of her day to spend time with me, even when she's super busy. And she also pays attention to ask about what's going on in my life. Through her actions, she has been a godly influence to me and has been that example to me of how to care for others around me. Sisters, I would encourage you to surround yourself with good, godly company so that you can provide good, godly company to others, to be an example, ultimately, of holy living to the people around you.
Totally, that's great. So let's move on to the next verse. Proverbs 17:9. It says, "He who conceals a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates intimate friends." A similar verse is 1 Peter 4:8. "Above all, keep fervent in your love for one another, because love covers a multitude of sins." Do you want to be a godly friend? Don't gossip about people's sins.
Now, if someone needs help, there sometimes is a time and place to reach out to mature Christians to help you build up your friend in need and to know how to counsel that person. If you know that friend through church, it is a loving thing to tell your church leaders about their struggles to the pastors and elders, so that they can pray specifically for them, and so that the elders and pastors can take care of the flock that God has entrusted them with. This is completely different from gossip. Gossip separates close friends. It causes division because gossip is ultimately self-seeking and selfish. You can't be a godly friend and gossip. They don't match. Not only does gossip tear down people's reputation behind their backs, but it also steals true joy from the listener and uses influence in an unrighteous way. Consider this. There are so many positive things to say, so many things that are edifying and encouraging to people. For instance, the Bible is full of encouraging truths that you can share with your friends. So, instead of gossiping about other people's sins, use your speech to build up others. Your first instinct should actually be to pray for your friends and not think about all the people you need to tell when they sin. Do your best to be fervent in your love for others and speak truth to them so that you can build them up with truth and don't tear them down with gossip.
Additionally, in 1 Peter 4:8, it says that love covers a multitude of sins. So covering sin doesn't mean allowing it or always hiding it. You should cover from maybe the general public, but reach out to church elders and other leaders to seek help and guidance when it comes to your struggles or the struggles of your friends. You can also encourage your friends to reach out to their own church leadership and tell them themselves so that they will know how to wisely deal with their own sins and struggles. So here's a quick recap of what we've talked about so far. We've said that surrounding yourself with good friends is good so that you can be a good influence to others. And we've also talked about how we should use our speech for good, not gossiping or tearing down our friends, but instead letting love cover that multitude of sins. So now let's turn to the third and final passage about being a godly friend. It's John 15:12-13, which says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that one laid down his life for his friends."
Wow, I just love these verses because they're so challenging and convicting. If we want to be a godly friend, an excellent friend, we need to love one another to the extent that we're laying down our lives for others. Now, what does this look like practically? How do you lay down your life for your friends in everyday life? Sometimes just simply taking the time to pray for a friend, to share verses with them, and ask them how they're doing can make a huge difference in your friend's life. You can also invite a friend over for dinner and sacrifice your time, your energy, and your resources to care for her and point her to Christ. And sometimes being a friend to someone who you have a really difficult time getting along with can really feel like a sacrifice. But remember the degree of love that we are called to. We are to put aside our own comfort, desires, wants, and preferences, and to instead selflessly and patiently love others. So another way you can show sacrificial love towards others is by prioritizing them in your schedule. We've all been busy before, but we want to be selfless even with that. You may have a friend going through a breakup or a loss of a loved one, and it's really hard. And you might have to change your plans to be with that hurting friend. To be a godly and loving friend, you must put your friend's needs above your own and love like Christ loved us.
That is super challenging, Alisa, to love as Christ loved us. But by God's grace, we can all grow in being loving friends. You know what else is really amazing? Jesus considers his disciples his friends. In John 15:15-17, it says, "No longer do I call you slaves, for the slave does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you would go and bear fruit, and that your fruit would remain, so that whatever you ask of the Father in my name, he may give to you. This I command you, that you love one another." Christ calls us friends. We're not foreigners to Christ or strangers, but we're actually friends. Wow, that is such an amazing truth.
It really is. So, sisters, let us do what Christ has commanded and truly love each other. Let's share God's word with others wherever we can so that we can pour truth into their lives. This is how we can be godly friends. By ensuring we're surrounded by godly influences, by speaking truth and not gossiping, and by loving our friends to the extent that we are laying down our lives for them, like how Christ died for us on the cross. We hope this video helps shape your thinking on how to be that godly friend to those people around you. Please leave us a comment below about how you want to grow in being a godly friend so that we can know how to pray for you. And until next time, stay captivated. Good friends wear green.
Woo!